Welcome to the Runna Podcast. I'm Ben, head coach.
And I'm Anya, international marathon runner. And we're proud to be the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide.
We'll be having truly insightful conversation with truly inspirational guests, as well as bringing you tips and tricks for runners of all abilities.
Today on the podcast, we speak to the incredible Lola Anderson, who's not just an Olympian, but a gold medalist. We hear what it took to get to the top of her game, from starting out rowing from a young age and facing so many challenges along the way and continuing to be the best. She's had injuries, she's had setbacks, and unfortunately lost her dad along the way. But she shows her grit and determination and really can motivate us all with her incredible story. Enjoy the episode.
Hey Lola, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. What we love to ask everyone to get started with is what got you into moving your body and got you into fitness and exercise at the start of your rowing journey?
I think at the very start, that would be like family, to be fair. Either taking inspiration from my older sister or getting competitive with my brother. Things like that. I think it definitely pushed me to begin with. And my mum and my dad were very, very keen for us to be like active and just kind of, I don't know, learn how to stay fit.
Yeah. And I guess that got you moving. And at what point did you start doing anything competitive? Like, is it the case that you were the best in school as soon as you started picking up a ball or playing sport? Or when did you start to find there was a competitive spark in you?
No, I'm actually, I feel like really uncoordinated when it comes to like ball sports. And so I did a lot of swimming when I was younger. And I think when I was fairly young, I was kind of okay at it. And then the older I got, I kind of wasn't really feeling the internal motivation with that and switched sports thinking I wasn't really going to find anything like crazy competitive. I just wanted to enjoy sport again. And when I came to rowing at my school, I think it was because I was having so much fun with my teammates and like actually just enjoying training and enjoying the day-to-day process that from there I started to kind of set more and more like small goals that then became quite like addictive, like set a challenge, try and get it. And then if you got it, it was like a real boost. And then I think that kind of like fed into it from there.
And I guess that's the difference being in a boat where you can talk to your teammates rather than head down in the water and you can talk to no one.
Yeah, I know. I need to talk.
Yeah.
I'm a chatty person.
And what were these like little goals at first? Was it about being faster or was it about doing the best in the school, or what was it that you were kind of setting yourself as these little goals?
I mean, to begin with, it was literally to like stay in the boat because honestly, when I first joined, I was more times in the water than I was on top of it. I capsized so much. And I would have these little sort of moments where I was thinking, oh God, I'm really not very good at this, but I don't know why I like it so much. And I just kept wanting to come back. So yeah, to begin with, it was try and find my balance. And then it was like, no, I want to improve my like technical execution. And then, yeah, when I was feeling a bit more confident about, I actually know how to do this sport, then it became things like I'm chasing this time or I'm chasing this sort of like physical goal. Yeah.
Wow. And at what point, so what age were you when you started rowing at school?
I started when I was 13 and I think, I first started sort of trialing and representing or trying to represent on a national and international level when I was 16. So it took a good 3 years to kind of like build the momentum.
And so how long did it take to be going from balancing and staying in the boat to being maybe like the best at school?
Oh.
Or it's all a blur in hindsight?
No, yeah. I mean, I feel like when you're in a team sport, it's quite hard to measure, what makes you the best or something like that. So I was keen to start doing trials from a young age. And so as a result, I was put into my single, which is when you're in person in your own boat. And I was put in my single quite a lot from a young age, which probably helped me develop different skill sets faster than the other athletes. But we all competed in one boat at the end of the year together. So, I mean, we won the same things. I just was doing a little bit of trials as well on the side.
Wow. And so you started to compete nationally and then internationally at 16. Mm-hmm. How did that go?
So, I mean, the international regatta I'm talking about is GB France. And so that's like the first step that you can do. Mm-hmm. So you, at the time, you would race. And if you won the national sort of race, then you were selected to represent GB. And then you would go and race the French equivalent of the girl that had done that. So I represented in the single and then I raced the French single sculler, and out of the two of you, if you win, then you're the fastest in Great Britain and France. And so I did it in a single in Nantes in France, and I won. But like, again, I nearly capsized doing that. So it wasn't smooth, but that was my first like international race and my first win. Yeah.
And so to be the best rower at the age of 16 in England and France is...
As a 16-year-old.
As a 16-year-old.
As a 16-year-old.
Is incredible. And are you at this point that good entirely off your own motivation? You just want to be the best and you're having so much fun with all these girls at school? Or is it pressure from elsewhere? Or what is it that gets you to be that good?
No, I think, again, like with team sports, because you're so used to training with each other, you also have such a massive team around that. So yeah, I mean, like our coaches and my friendship group at school, like they were always very supportive, and we had like amazing coaches. We had this one man who he'd actually just raced at London 2012 in the men's heavyweight double. His name was Bill Lucas, and he came in to coach us like almost immediately after representing at his Olympic Games experience in London. And so for us as young girls and as young athletes at that time, like seeing him and just like listening and absorbing everything that he was saying was an amazing coach to have at that age. You know, like you just took everything that he said like it was gold dust. And then also my dad, he had spent a lot of time growing up rowing. And so when I was having these sort of like off days and these wobbles, he was very good to kind of like give some perspective from his rowing journey and from his experiences. And then, yeah, I had a twin brother that, you know, if I'd capsized and he hadn't, he would be sort of like laughing at me. And so it was like small things like that I guess in the family, in the friendship group and in the coaching team, everyone kind of like keeps you going.
So there was never a point which you were like, this isn't for me, this isn't what I want to do as a career. You never gave up.
Oh, I mean, like when I was 13 and the London Games were on, I remember watching that thinking, this environment looks amazing. And I remember watching rowing, and I had literally just started. And as I said, I was honestly swimming more than I was capsized, like rowing at that point. And I remember watching it thinking, like, that just looks like the most amazing experience. Like that's my dream. Aww. And I hadn't really experienced any emotion like that at that point. And I don't know if it was because it was the Olympics or if it was because I just started out in a sport and I was starting to feel very passionate about it, that it kind of gave me that hook. But also at the time I was aware that my skill level was like here, and what I would need to be to go was just sort of like so far off in the distance. I wasn't even really kind of like willing to own up to that dream, because I just thought that was, I don't know, a bit too outlandish at that time.
I think there's so few people growing up that, or in a lifetime, ever get to meet an Olympian. But to be surrounded as a young person pursuing sport and to be coached by someone fresh out of the Olympics, do you feel that, like, almost looking back, that you were surrounded by like all the right kind of perfect environment that then led you on this really exciting and perfect path?
Yeah, like 100%, because if I wasn't receiving sort of like that emotional support from a parent at home, whether that was my mum or my dad, or the sort of the friendships and the team sort of bonding experience you get from being in a crew sport and like a team environment. Yeah, like you had someone who was at the Olympic Games that was literally in the city that I was in when we were growing up. And he had not only like done it and achieved the dream that I was maybe starting to think about wanting to pursue, he was also the one that was encouraging us every day. And he was the one that was telling us to believe in ourselves and telling us that we could train harder and that we could be faster if we applied ourselves in the right way. So like he definitely was like a big bridge in that sense.
And so much of being the best is about stacking all these little bits along the way. And doing some of the statistical things looking back, I think you were mentioning the stats of how much more likely you are to be at the top. I can't remember whether it was in the Olympics or what it was, by having a sibling.
Just that like competitiveness. Like,
I think it was like, was it 98%?
It was something ridiculous. Like,
is it?
There's like no only children that are in the Olympics.
That's kind of
mad. And then I guess you've got a twin that maybe probably pushes that stat of having that like competitive side to you that much further than just having an older brother or an older sister.
Yeah, well, in our boat, so there was 4 girls in our boat that won in Paris, and 3 of them, including myself, were all twins. So in that sense, like we did grow up with someone constantly by your side, and whether or not you were the competitive one or they were the competitive one to begin with, that was kind of like pushing you on, you probably did have that kind of like sibling dynamic. Because
I mean, the statistical likelihood of being a twin is very low. Being in a group of 4 people where there are 3 twins is extremely low, which probably kind of like starts to point towards the same thing, that it's so many of these things really stacking up in the perfect way.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess, obviously, you have just recently come back from winning an Olympic gold, which is incredible. From 16 through to however old you are now, is that 10 years later?
It's 10 years.
10 years later.
10 years. I won't hide that.
Was it plain sailing?
No. The first, my sort of, so we divide like our rowing journey and sort of international representation into sort of 3 parts. So you can be a junior, an under 23 and a senior. And so my junior years were fairly smooth in the sense that I was responding well to my training. I was mentally confident and very sort of, I guess, internally driven and motivated by what I could see as the next steps. And then those steps were coming, basically. So I did GB France, and then I did something called Coupe, which is like a small European championships for juniors. And then I went from there to Junior Worlds. And so that was from 16, 17, 18. That all felt fairly smooth. And I felt pretty confident that the next step should be under 23s. We are aware that that is a step up, but I thought that I would be capable of making that, and it wouldn't be anything too hard to make that transition. I came to university with actually a fair few of my friends from school, and it was a new program. It was mentally and physically quite different from what I was used to. And I watched all of the girls around me and men around me sort of excel and succeed on this program pretty quickly. And I think for myself at the time, because I was expecting results to come faster than what they were then actually coming to me, I started to then kind of block my performance a little bit. I was too sort of in my head. I was too fixated on the goal, and I wasn't fixating on the process, and I wasn't enjoying the process then as a result of not getting like the scores or the times or the results that I wanted. And I kind of went into this semi-spiral, not a massive one, but it wasn't the same sort of smooth sailing for the next couple of years. But luckily for me, this university that I went to was Newcastle, and our coaches there really, really, really value sort of like this family atmosphere, that you look after your athletes, you look after your team, because again, in a team sport, you don't just win on one person, you win as a group. And it's that sort of ethos and that culture that then came to support me when they could see that I was struggling, not just physically, but mentally, like I wasn't myself. And so they really invested like the time, the energy and the spirit to help me out of it. And knowing that they didn't care about me as an athlete just because of my results, but because of myself as a person, I think then really sort of boosted me in my last year. And then I did go to under 23s that year, and we got a gold at the World Championships. That's
amazing. And I guess like it's doing so often when we're talking to runners, when they're doing going to the track and having a group to train around, it makes it so much easier when they're not feeling themselves and they've got the group to pull them up. And I guess that's what you found being in the club and having those coaches to help support you.
100%. I find it, I mean, I just have the most respect in that sense for athletes that can just get on with it on their own, because I definitely enjoy sport. I think for one of the biggest reasons, at least for the social side of things that it gives me, that sort of that team, the support, the friendliness, the environment. Like it is a tricky one, because some days you're competing against your friends and other days you're trying to build each other up. But if you get that dynamic right, it's such a supportive environment to be part of, and it's a very like empowering environment to be part of as well.
And presumably having a few years in the journey where it wasn't as easy also builds up the other half of you, which is the mental strength that you need to be coupling with the physical body to then keep improving and going on to the next phase.
Yeah, well, I think realistically, whether it's a mental setback or a physical setback, you learn a lot from those times. And for myself, one of the main things that I learned when I was struggling at my university in the first couple of years was that if I'm not enjoying it, I don't go fast. If I'm not enjoying the training, even when it's the rough days and it's the hard sessions and things like that, I don't get the most out of myself. And so if I put too much pressure on the result, and if I am sort of, I guess, if I'm putting my results and my performance above my own self-worth and sort of my enjoyment of my day-to-day process, then I don't thrive as an athlete. So it's kind of helped me with that balance going forwards that, yeah, like obviously you can be competitive, but you are still also Lola. You're not just a rower.
Yeah. So you talk about the process. Can you tell us what a day or weekly training kind of looks like? Because I'm not that clued up with my rowing.
So we tend to do a lot of mileage. So we were talking about this briefly, but so in the morning, our typical row will be anywhere between 1.5 hours to 2 hours.
Is it like easy?
That's kind of like jogging intensity. So that's UT2, like effort. And then second session will be, again, slightly shorter mileage, but higher intensity. Whether or not that's continuous intensity or it's bursts and sort of more intervals, that is dependent on what time of the season it is. Because with rowing, we have a long race in the winter, which is 5K long, or we have our 2K racing, which is what you saw at the Olympics. Okay. And so we need two kind of different sort of physiologies for that in our season. And then the third session of the day would be some type of weights and or like physical maintenance. We will do that 5 times or 4 times a week, and we'll have 2 days a week where we only have 2 sessions.
So 2 days of double training and 4 or 5 times of triple training.
Yeah.
How often would you have a day off?
So we typically get every Sunday off.
Oh, so there's basically 4 days of savage training, 2 days of still pretty savage training, but a little bit less, and then 1 day off.
Yeah. Or if we're on a training camp, then we don't tend to have that day off, and that's when the 5th day will come in. Wow.
Because, I mean, there's an element that, like, if you gave that volume, double runs 5 days a week or 4 days a week, and a strength session to someone or to a runner 4 days a week, and then on those other 2 days they had to do 2 runs, but maybe slightly shorter, they would break. And I guess, like, thinking about it, the difference is the lack of impact. But I guess we were discussing downstairs, there's still impact when you row.
There is still impact. I would say, though, also just on that, like, our heart rates are not doing the same thing when you go, because when we go for runs, and maybe it's just because I'm not very good at running, but, you know, my heart rate's much higher than what it is when I'm rowing. But the impact of rowing is, so you've got your own body weight that you're trying to push down the course. And then you also have the weight of the water and the weight of the boat that you're trying to sort of pick up and take through the water with you. And then also if it's like a windy day, you might have what we call a tailwind or a headwind that will either speed you up or slow you down as well. So you've got several elements that do sort of impact the impact that then goes through your body. But yeah, because the boats are heavy and I'm heavy, when I put my blades in at the front of the stroke, the impact that I will then feel is sort of how that force is pushed through my midsection and my lower back.
You've got abs of steel.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying. We do a lot with our weight sessions. And as I said, like the physical maintenance sessions are designed to sort of make sure that our midsections are strong enough to withstand that. Because if they're not, it's almost like a crumple zone for ribs. And as I say, if you're not able to sort of hold your body in the right position and your spine begins to sort of curve, that's when you get unhappy backs and stress fractures.
And a year out from the Olympics, you got a bulging disc.
Because there's impact in rowing. It's not the same level of impact that you would get with running, but it's just repetitive. As I say, you're out on the water for hours or you're on the erg for hours. And so it's just the small sort of repetitive like notion of it that brings these injuries. And I noticed that I couldn't really rock over in the boat without sort of feeling this pinch and this pain in my back. And so we went for a scan and it turned out I just had a bulging disc, which is a fairly common injury in rowing. And so the rehab process for that is they send you to get an epidural. It's just an anti-inflammatory that gets put straight to the problem area in your back. And that gives you like a 2-week window to rehab without pain and without restriction so that you can get your body moving in the right ways for the coming months. Yeah.
And it worked?
The first one I thought worked. And I'd spent about a month in the pool rehabbing, and I felt really fit and strong. And I was doing all of my rehab exercises in the gym. And I came back in for a race at World Cup 2 in Italy and was feeling strong, feeling good. We then went to go race at Henley Royal Regatta. And as we were warming up for our semi-final, we did like a burst. And I put my blades in again at the catch, like the heaviest point in the boat. And as I started pushing, I just kind of felt this little ping in my back. And I remember thinking like mid-stroke, like, I don't think that's going to be good. And then a couple of strokes later, I was like, yeah, my back is actually like seizing up. It doesn't feel great. We got down to the start and I had to turn around to the girls in my boat and I said, look, I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm not going to be able to push full pressure off of the start on this, because that's again when the boat's stationary and you're trying to get it up to speed, like that's its heaviest. That's when you need to be your most sort of powerful. But I was aware my back wasn't working normally, so I was like, I can't do this. So they had to get it up to speed. They tapped me along basically for the whole of it. Like they basically carried me to the finish line. And then when we got to the end and we had to get out the boat, I couldn't bend over. I couldn't touch my toes. I couldn't do anything. So I had to miss the final the next day, and they still won it. So that was great. But I had to go get another epidural and then rehab maybe like 2 months out from the World Championships at that point.
And at this point, what's going through your head? Like, do you mean you're unable to do the sport that you love, and this is during your passion and everything you're doing? And are you thinking ahead to the Olympics at this point?
Well, that summer's World Championships was the qualification regatta for the Olympics. And so I was pretty stressed, because not only did we want to qualify the boat, but in terms of selection, if I didn't race, I was quite nervous about what that would mean for my selection the next year. So rehabbing wise, we basically just had to go all the way back to not completely step one, but quite far back in that process and do it all over again, try and forget about the stress of the race coming up and just remember that my teammates were there to support me. And I mean, they were amazing. Like, they never complained. They did everything they could to make sure that I was calm, relaxed, and happy about my build back. They never rushed me back or anything like that in a process that would have been very stressful for them. So, no, I think it's hard because as athletes, we often use sport as a way to sort of de-stress and decompress. But then when you're stressed about not being able to row, you don't have your stress mechanism or your coping mechanism either. So I spent a lot of time just trying to be very honest with myself about what I was thinking, and then to try and correct myself off of the back of that as well.
Your trust that you have in your teammates and the support that you all give each other. When was the first time you all raced together? How long have you been training together for your team that you raced with the Olympics?
So we first raced together properly at that World Cup 2 in 2023. Okay. So we had trained together maybe for about 2 weeks before that, because I had been injured. And then on and off, like throughout that next year into the Olympics, because we had other injuries and other illnesses in the boat as well to deal with. And I think, again, with like high performance sport, it's common that someone's going to be out with either a cough, cold, injury, something, but you just have to try and keep the boat and the project moving forwards and trust that they'll be back when the time is right. So as much as if I would trust like someone else in my boat to nail it on the day, then I should have faith that they would trust me in that same way as well. So it's kind of like this mutual protection, I guess. Yeah.
So I guess like you've got all of these uncertainties you're worrying about. When it comes to Paris, are you guys going in as the favourites, or what are your expectations personally, and probably the pressure on the outside world from the outside world as well?
Yeah. So like I did actually manage to rehab in time to get back for the 2023 World Championships, which was the Paris qualification regatta. And we won. Yep. So that put us as like in a good place, like basically coming into Olympic year. And then following some more injuries, we had to go into the 2024 season and do our first race at World Cup 1, and we did not feel very prepared, and we were aware that everybody would be looking at us thinking, well, they just won the World Championships, just gone, like that was the last race that we did, so we'd expect them to be good. And we knew coming in that we were not ready to deliver a performance that we thought would be actually reflective of what we could do. We just had to go and do it, and it didn't go amazingly. That it wasn't a complete disaster. Like, we learned a lot about what we needed to fix and what we needed to improve going forwards, but we came fourth. And then from that, we had a 2-week turnaround from that to the European Championships, and we won there. So I guess in the Paris year, there are ups and downs with, you have to be adaptive and you have to take the lessons as they come. And I guess if you win everything, but you're not also sort of, I don't know, I think if we'd won that first World Cup, maybe we would have been super confident and not taken the same sort of intent to improve that we took from that instead to the Europeans after coming fourth, because we knew we had a lot of work to do.
And you almost, it's one of these things you just wouldn't go back and change anything, because everything, how it lay, is what led you to be where you are now, or is that not true?
No, I think I would agree with that, because if we had, you just can't predict what other crews and what other countries are doing and how they're prioritizing their racing season. And we were disappointed with World Cup 1. Fourth was not where we wanted to be, even though we knew that we weren't ready to perform. Like, you still don't want to get a result. You still want to win, basically, even when you're not ready to. And so, I think that fourth place really helped us in a way, because it gave us a lot of focus. It helped us sort of identify what were our key weaknesses that we continue to work on, not just into Europeans, but beyond that, because we knew that, hey, if that could make such a big difference in 2 weeks, then we should keep working on that, because you can't guarantee what any other country's doing right now. Like, they could be finding seconds of free speed that by the time we race them next, if we haven't found that as well, then we're going to be behind them. So we need to keep working. We need to keep pushing. Yeah.
And how was that Olympic race? How did it all go? What were your emotions? What were your feelings through it?
It's funny, because if you ask each girl in the boat, like, they're all going to have a very different answer, because they have a different perspective being sat either behind or in front, but also...
And where do you sit in the boat?
I sit in the 3 seat. So if you're looking at the boat, you've got the girl that crosses the line first, she's 1. Then you've got 2, 3, and 4 is the girl who's at the front of the boat that the cameras see.
So you all got different jobs?
We've all got different jobs, yeah. So the bow girl in our boat, she was very good at looking out, letting us know where we were in the field. She was super, super confident. She's very, very technical, and she's very strong. So all wins. That's perfect. And then Hannah... Sorry, that was Lauren. And then Hannah, who was our 2 girl, she steered the boat as well. So with rowing, when you see like the men's 8 or the women's 8, and they have that like person at the front of the boat shouting at everyone, they have wires to control how the boat moves in the water. Hannah has to do that with a wire that's attached to her foot. And so she can't see, obviously, where the boat's going, but she has to look in the opposite direction and then steer with her foot to make sure that we're going straight. So if she wants to go left, she'll sort of point her toe left. If she wants to go right, she'll point her toe right.
And that's all while pulling.
That's all while
enormous
pulling.
power at the same time.
That's all while killing herself. She's doing that, and she can't actually see where she's going. Like, she can't turn around to look, because if she turns around, like, the boat wobbles. So she just has to know that we're going in a straight line and just steer off of that. So that's pretty cool from Hannah. And she also makes the calls. So she, as I say, like in the 8s, that Cox will shout at people. Hannah has to shout at us, whilst again she's like putting down her max effort. So Hannah was a key point, like part of our boat, because she told us what to do. She kept us going straight, and also she's really strong, and she's also very technical. So good, Hannah. My job is to push hard, get my blades in on time, and follow what Georgie's doing, who's our stroke girl. And she's putting down rhythm. She's setting down how many strokes we take in a minute. So that's like our pace. And Georgie and I need to sort of lead the back pair of the boat and help them feel confident in our race plan. So we do what they tell us to do, and we just try and execute what they're telling us.
It really is a team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. How did the race plan out?
Sorry. Yeah.
On the day.
So we knew that as a general crew, like one of our weaknesses was that we weren't the most explosive off of the start. But if we got into a good rhythm, that our sort of base speed was quick enough that if we could kind of just like hang on to the quick boats coming out the start, that we could maybe edge through them in the middle. So we were expecting to be down a little bit out the start. We wanted to kind of like minimize that. But I can't really see what's going on because again, like I'm facing that way and the boats are going that way. So I was just listening to Hannah and Lauren and they were so confident the whole way down the track. They were like, yeah, another push. Yeah, another one. Let's just keep going, guys. Like we're catching them in no time. And so I was just sort of sat there telling Georgie, like, they say we're good. So like, I guess just keep going. And then in the last 500 meters, you can kind of start to see like peripherally, we are kind of edging back onto them. But I was aware that I couldn't see as much of them as I'd like to see because I was like, I can only see like the front half of their boat. I can't see the back half of the girls. And so I could have, I guess, got quite stressed there. But again, it's listening to people like Hannah and Lauren. They're so good in the bows of the boat, just keeping everyone calm and just believing. Like there was not a single stroke where they were saying anything in like a panicked tone or anything like that. And so because they were confident, it helps you just stay calm, focus on like your controllables and just do that. So yeah.
I remember watching it. It was, yeah.
And then you won. Did you know you won as you crossed the line?
So again, like I could kind of tell that peripherally we were like toing and froing quite a lot. And I felt like the last stroke we took before we stopped rowing, that we had kind of edged ahead. But I looked over and I was like, we're literally
but it was
dead
really
level.
tight,
like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And how long does it take? I mean, you're in your boat. Presumably you don't have a radio. Or how do you find out?
So I heard Lauren in the bow start screaming. And I turned around and she was celebrating, screaming. So I was thinking, okay, like this is surely good news. And I was looking at her like, how do you know? And she was pointing at a board that the crowd couldn't see. But there was a board that had the times up and it said, GBR 1 and then the Dutch 2nd. And so it was at that point, maybe like 5 to 10 seconds post racing, that I realized, oh my God, I think this has actually just happened. And that's when the celebrations start. And
what does it feel like to win a gold medal?
Like every emotion but anger. I mean, honestly, I'd spent so much of the build up into the Olympic Games just kind of trying to pretend or sort of ignore every sort of Olympic Rings logo. And anytime somebody was talking about it, something different. And you have these fun experiences in the build up, like going to kitting out, or we went to the British Embassy and you see all of the athletes and you see athletes that you recognize, you're like, oh my God, those are kind of like celebrities. Or you see legit celebrities like Mick Jagger was at the British Embassy and I was like, what? Like, this is so like surreal. But Hannah, the girl in 2, like she'd gone to Tokyo and she was very good at kind of just explaining, yes, okay, this is a big deal. Like there's a lot of media, there's a lot of attention, there's a lot of hype that goes into this. But at the end of the day, like this is just a world championships that happens to have in the same city, 50 other world championships going on at the same time. And you can enjoy that and you can spectate that like after we finish racing, but we need to stay in our boat, heads in, internal until that moment. And so, yeah, in the build up, anytime I kind of felt myself getting a little bit like excited or drawn in by something, I'd kind of push it away and be like, no, not yet. And so that finish line was the first sort of real point where I started to allow myself to be like, that wasn't just a world championships, like that was the Olympic final. And you've not just won like a world championship gold, which is something that, I'd be ecstatic with anyways, but this was the Olympic gold. And that wall of emotions like really hit hard.
I mean, you captured the hearts of like the nation. I've never been so behind a rowing team ever. I loved watching it. I loved hearing from you all. Yeah, so many congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
And how has your life changed since? Has your life changed?
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like the everyday normal of training is nice to do, and the team, the goal, sort of the process will always stay the same. And so that is great. But in terms of like actually being out in Paris afterwards and just sort of, I feel like internally knowing that you've kind of just taken part in your dream and you've just had your dreams come true, which sounds like quite an excessive or like over the top thing to say, but it literally was everyone's dream in that boat to go to the Olympics and maybe like in their wildest dreams, like get a gold medal. And so for that to happen was completely surreal, like walking about, and any sort of additional things that have come along the way with like meeting cool people or going to fun events and things like that, like those are bonuses. But in terms of how it's changed our lives, like you've accomplished your dream. So
is that, because I mean, people speak about gold medal syndrome. Like, is it a problem to achieve your dream? Are you still as hungry to train? Are you like, what's your dream now? Is it to do it again in 4 years? Or like, has that hurt, or has that not got in your way?
I think, this is the longest amount of time I have taken off from high performance training and rowing. I took a good 5-6 months off, and I've really enjoyed just sort of allowing myself to process what that means for me in my rowing in the future years. And to be honest, like the real honest answer to that is I still enjoy like the act of rowing. I still enjoy being out in the water. I enjoy being active, training, pushing myself, and trying to sort of learn more sort of like physical boundaries, I guess, about what I can do and what I can achieve with that. And so for myself right now, the motivation might be slightly different in that you've got the medal that you wanted, but it doesn't stop you, I guess, chasing more. You just need to make sure that your head's in it for the right reasons, and that you still enjoy the day to day. Like that's what it comes back to me. Like if I enjoy it, then training, even on its hard days, is something that's actually relatively easy.
And so what would you say is your goal? Like what are you working towards? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Or is it simply the routine of rowing and training and being the best you can? Like what motivates you today?
I think, so for me right now, I'm trying to think more short term. So I want to race this season, and our World Championships will be in Shanghai at the end of this year. And I think that would be with a new team, because each year post-Olympics, you get new members coming into the team. That would be a really fun event to be part of. But I don't want to just race for fun. Like I do still want to have competitive results to show for it. And so I would like to go to LA in 4 years' time. But as for what the goal is in that, I guess I'll just find out with that. Just let that sort of marinate a little bit more. But I mean, yeah, no one wants to just go. Everyone wants to come away with something to show for it. So I'd like to go.
Yeah.
See
So
where we go with that.
Enjoy the training between now and then. Get to the Olympics.
Don't maybe put a medal on that. Yeah.
Okay. And so over these 5-6 months, you've kind of turned down the intensity on training.
Yeah.
You went to parkrun.
Yes.
What did you think of parkrun? And I guess being the best in the world, and then going and turning up to the start line of a very ordinary event in Bushy Park.
Yeah.
And presumably performing relatively ordinarily.
No, I did really well.
So what was it like?
I actually didn't get my time. It was really, I had so much fun. I feel like, I have high standards for myself to an extent in what is like my professional sport. But I'm not a professional athlete in every sport. And so I'm not going to hold those standards for myself and everything. Like I said, when we were rehabbing in the pool, I'm not going to sort of compare my swimming times to an Olympic swimmer, because that would just be depressing. But running for me that day, I mean, if I'd gone on my own, like maybe I would have been a bit more competitive. But going with a whole group of friends from school, and actually like one of our school teachers is also like turns up. It was just really fun just to go for a run, catch up, chat. You feel like you've, started off your day with something actually really quite like active and enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And then again, like school teacher, she brought a bottle of Prosecco to have afterwards. And so in terms of like my weekend starts, I feel like that was pretty strong. Yeah.
And
had a lot of fun.
And would you, in the normal flow of rowing training,
have like a glass of Prosecco afterwards?
Well, both. Have a glass of Prosecco, and would you ever run?
So no to the Prosecco, not yet. Boring. We could maybe do with that. But for running, occasionally with cross training, we do get to do like running. It is actually entirely up to the individuals. So we've got some rowers who running really suits their physiology and it really suits like how their bodies move, and it doesn't seem to impact them negatively in terms of injury. But for other rowers, we would notice that, hey, actually, like if you've got problems with your hips or something like that, we might not recommend running, because running is known to sort of potentially tighten up your hips. And rowers, we use our hips quite crucially for the stroke. So it really depends on where your strengths and weaknesses lie. I tend to go either running or swimming, but mostly running. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And the question I've been thinking is, this morning you did about a 20k row. And I guess for context, for people imagining what it's like, I think running and rowing paces are somewhat similar. So imagine you ran 20k this morning.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel? Like in the normal flow of training, and you're doing training 3 times a week, 3 times a day, several times a week, and double days as well. Are you aching all the time? Or is your body so adapted to it that you feel sprightly? Like, how does your body feel right now?
My body feels fairly fine right now. Also, yeah, I mean, when you start for the first time after taking a chunk of time off, you do feel sore. Like you definitely do, you know, your back, your hamstrings, your shoulders, because rowing is a full sort of body sport in that sense. It does sting a little bit. And then your hands, if your hands are soft, you get blisters everywhere. And so the whole process of breaking into it can be quite jarring. But once you're involved, like, it's fine. But I could do a 20k row and then I don't know, like another like 90-minute session second. And I could go for a 5k run, and the run would be the thing that gave me DOMS, because I'm just not used to it. Like, my muscles aren't used to it. So yeah.
It sounds very similar to that of doing someone who's in the groove of their marathon training.
Yeah.
It's tiring, but your body's adapted to it. And in the same way, your body's adapted to your load.
Yeah.
We're going through something new in like a 5k, 5k run, and that's going to be the thing that gives you the DOMS.
Yeah.
Like you said.
If I had to go row, everything would hurt tomorrow.
We'll take you for a row if you want. You can come
Oh
out in
my
a
God.
double. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Maybe
that.
we should do it where you swap lives for a day each, and then we can.
Oh my God.
It's-
I couldn't
It's
do
like
your runs.
it's like the show that I don't know if this is appropriate to say. It's like the show.
Wife swap.
Yeah, where you swap lives. And yeah, you'll do a day training like Anya, and then Anya does a day training like you, and we'll see
actually
who's
just-
more crippled on day 3.
because
I feel like I just take breaks. I just stop at coffee shops and be like, I'm sorry, I need to take a break.
That is something about rowing, is you can't really just moor up alongside a nice coffee shop. Like you're on the boat, on the river, in the rain. And
People
it's-
take snacks with them.
Oh, really?
So
sometimes.
you're
Okay.
out for
Yeah.
hours. How do you eat on the boat?
I struggle to do that, but girls will take like bananas, and you take like multiple bottles of fluids with you.
Yeah.
And you take like gels and like things like that,
Yeah.
like chews, just to kind of get you through it. But that also depends on the session. Like, there are some sessions that I would definitely not consider boating without taking like a gel and or like 2 WARS bottles or something like that with us. And there are other sessions where it's like kind of your standard morning row, like this morning's first session, that's fairly standard, and so I can get away with just taking a bottle with me of just some water or squash or something like that. Yeah.
So fueling starts to be quite similar to that of endurance running training as well.
Yeah. I feel like you pick and choose which sessions you're going to prioritize, what kind of recovery for whilst you're in the session, and then also for like post session recovery, and also how you eat before it.
When I run along the Thames, it's always the rowers are always like first up in the mornings. Like, it's so cold, and I try and run alongside the boat and like race them. So it is a similar speed, but like you're in the cold. But then you were also like still rowing until it's like pitch black, and you must be so motivated. All of you, you're amazing.
We joke because at the moment we've not had like any sun for ages. It's just been cloud cover, and you boat for the first session and it's grey, and then you leave at the end of the day like for like 5 o'clock or whatever it is, and it's still grey / it's getting dark, and you're like, well, any time now just to see the sun would be nice, but that's the way it goes when you live in the UK, unfortunately.
I guess like last question from me would be like, we kind of spoke about being surrounded by twins or siblings and everything else. But so much of the success in different sports comes from small areas. I think the stats from the UK medal tally was that about half or more came from Yorkshire. When you look at the success in triathlon, everyone either comes from Leeds or Loughborough. And then in rowing, everyone's in Henley.
Yeah, so we moved to Henley because the National Training Centre is a 5-10 minute drive away from there. And so, and Henley also as a town has like quite the history with it, with Henley Royal Regatta. And so as a town, like you can't step outside your door without bumping into like at least 2 other rowers that you know either from like the local training clubs or from the National Training Centre. And so it is very much just sort of like rowers town, Henley. Yeah.
And is that though that what makes you all so fantastic is that you're just surrounded by the people all in the same routine, people better than you, people that are inspiring each other, and that makes it easier to head down and do what you do? And or what is it? Do you find that helps being in that bubble?
I think the bubble helps in some ways. I think it's always good to sort of stay mentally refreshed and kind of pop out every now and then and sort of reassess that you know normal life also goes on. But as you say, like training wise, you're always training and you're constantly, you know, it's 2 to 3 sessions a day. It's quite restrictive in terms of enjoying like a normal social life. And so I think I'd find it quite hard, to be honest, if I lived surrounded by my friends who could kind of go about and sort of enjoy their 20s a little bit more and that side of things. I'd probably be tempted to go out with them. So it probably keeps us honest in terms of our training. Yeah.
And would you say then, looking back, that's your biggest sacrifice, is having to live a more disciplined life to that of maybe normal people and your friends and having to knuckle down? Or what's the hardest thing or the thing you've had to give up to be where you are?
I mean, I'd say it's a sacrifice, but it's not one that I would say isn't worth it. You know, like you give up that kind of thing, but as I say, like your whole day is spent surrounded by your friends and you're training together with one very focused goal. So yeah, okay, every now and then I have to miss a party, or, you know, the bigger sacrifices would be like missing weddings and family events, things like that. Like that's definitely something that you're never grateful to have to miss one of those things. But then when you're sat down with your teammates and you know you've all got that sort of united focus, it is an empowering environment to be in. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to get out more, but I guess this is a life I've chosen for other reasons that I think are worth it.
And I guess the feeling that you felt sat in that boat as you 10 seconds later you saw that board and you knew you had won, the satisfaction and all of those feelings beats anything you've missed.
Yeah, it's okay. Exactly. I feel like that's a feeling that cannot be replaced, described in any other way than, yeah, that was more than worth it. So yeah, probably one of the best moments of my life.
That's amazing. Wow. We're going to segue over to Steph with our coaching tip of the week.
My top tip today is on race nerves. Race day nerves are so common, but we want to channel these and turn them into excitement. To help settle your anxiety, plan out your race and be organised in advance. What's your racing plan? What pace are you going to start at? When will you pick it up? What's your fueling plan? The more you can control, the less you have to think about on race day. You can simply execute your plan, which will help distract from the pain of racing.
Thanks for that, Steph. I'm going to bring us back with a discussion sent in from one of our runners. What strategies or mindset shifts do you rely on to push through when training gets tough or when motivation is low?
Ooh, do you want to go first or shall I?
I mean, I feel like mine's quite basic. I just rely on music, to be honest. If I know I'm feeling quite low going into a session, I will kind of make sure that my music is kind of going to force the energy a little bit. And if that's really not working, then yeah, just grit and get on with it. But
discipline.
And I guess you train on your own so infrequently, right?
Yeah. So like if we're doing, typically those sessions for me would be like the erg, the indoor rowing. And we will be doing that side by side, but I tend to put my headphones in because I know that I'm a bit more volatile with my music, so I'll just listen to something that keeps me going.
Oh, nice. No, I think, yeah, music is definitely valuable. I was going to say training with other people.
Yeah.
And even not always are you going to have someone, particularly when you're running, who can maybe run at the same pace as you or run the same workout. But I think by organising to go, for runners out there, going to the track and then doing your own workout at the track, but warming up together and then cooling down together can be such a valuable thing. Or going to the gym with a friend who's doing their own workout.
Yeah.
You've got to go to the gym and join them at the time you said. So like using other people can be a great way to like motivate yourself when you're not feeling as strong. And then almost on the same logic, I also try and use my friends or use people around me, even if they can't be there in person, like texting a friend and telling them what I'm going to go and do.
Yeah.
And then like, they're going to see it on my Strava or whatever it's going to be. So then like, or they might text me and be like, how was it? And if I haven't done it, I've let them down.
Yeah.
So I think like so much of what you spoke about of having that team mentality to get you through all of the hard years of training.
Yeah.
I think like for anyone out there who's doing a solo sport, like you can still use so many of those different kind of components to help you when you're not feeling yourself.
No, I fully take that for granted. I think that sort of that teamwork that kind of forces you to do something. You know, there are many days you wake up and you feel tired, you feel sort of sore, stiff, whatever it is, but it's never something that I can doubt whether I'm going to do it because I know that my teammates are waiting for me. And so unless I'm ill, I'm going in.
Annie, what about you? What gets you out the door when you're not feeling yourself?
I've definitely been the person to like Google make me go for a run or like motivate me for a run, and I like watch a YouTube video of like
I've seen these.
so really motivational.
I've had a conversation with ChatGPT, and I've said like, hey, I like running, but today I don't want to go on a run, but I need to go on a run. Tell me the thing I need to hear to get me on a run. It definitely doesn't help very well. Anyway, that's probably a runner feature we need to build.
Yeah. Write that down.
Tips
right.
to get you running.
Yeah, exactly. Although maybe we also probably need to be able to then ask the runner customer in the app what persona they'd like, because some people probably need like get the F up, go and run, or your whole family hate you, which is probably not what some people need, which is like
the anger.
You are amazing. Go out on a
so
run,
well, sweetie.
sprinkle some sparkles out there. You'll be great. Off
Some
you
people
go.
want a mix.
And like we need to be able to like choose the persona that like your running coach or your coach talks to you with.
Yeah, 100%. Some people want a mix of that as well. Some people want like nice guy some days, and then other days they want to be shouted at.
Do you have a coaching preference that you need?
Yeah, I don't like being shouted at too
really?
much. Yeah, just because I'm already working my absolute hardest. I feel like when you're shouting at me, it's because you don't believe I'm trying hard. So I don't mind constructive criticism. I need it. But just kind of let me know that you know that I'm working hard as well at the same time, and I'll do anything. But be a little bit nice, a little bit. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Anya? Do you like to be shouted at, or do you like a bit of niceness?
I agree. Like if someone says like you're smashing it, you're doing well, like I need positive reinforcement. Yeah.
I really don't know.
Sound like you want like to be shouted
I
at.
don't. I'm trying to think. I don't actually know. I'm just used to being the coach. I'm not used to being shouted at or getting the nice stuff.
I had this discussion with Joe before, my boyfriend, before he paced me at the marathon. I was like, this is what I'm going to need when it gets tough. I need you to tell me I'm great.
And did he do it?
Yeah, he actually did.
Because I've ran with Joe and Anya at Hackney Half and seen them had a bit of a domestic midway round.
Normally he's like, you're
sounds
so
like they've learned
slow,
1 year
run
later.
faster. And I'm like, Joe, that doesn't help. Like if I could run faster, I would.
Yeah. Coach the process, not the outcome.
Well, we're going to come on to a few this or that. So two probably equally silly suggestions, and you're going to have to pick between them.
Okay.
For every rowing session, you're on the water forevermore. Would you rather every day have to do a 2K max effort?
Oh, God.
Every day?
Yeah.
Or every time you get in a boat, it capsizes?
Capsize. Capsize. Yeah, capsize 100%. I can change kit, I can dry off, but like
every day.
A 2K max out.
This morning.
People will be like throwing up. People like you do a 2K max out and people are throwing up, like the lactic that stays in your legs. Like there's a reason why at like Olympic or World Championship events you only do 1 2K. Like it physiologically bins you. I could not do that. I wouldn't be able to walk up the stairs. I couldn't do that.
And when was the last time you capsized?
Like honestly maybe like 8 years ago. Like it's been a while. I would take that.
How would you have felt capsizing this morning?
Not
it was like
great.
2 degrees maybe.
Yeah, not great to be honest, but I would take that over a 2K.
So tomorrow
every day.
morning you're rathering a little dip in the Henley River.
Refreshing. A nice little like cold water plunge. I'll take that. It's good for me. It's good for my heart.
Nice, good.
Yeah.
Anya, what about you? I'm trying to think of the equivalent option, but
Well, like I could never do a lactic session on the track. Well, one, I can't run fast enough.
okay, Anya, would you rather ice bath every day?
Ice bath.
Really?
The way I see like Georgia Bell and those Olympians doing their lactic sessions and they're like crying on the floor, like convulsing. I've never been in that situation.
Fair enough.
So, are you taking the 2K?
I can hardly get in the sea in the middle of summer, let alone an ice bath.
Oh God.
Right.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
No, next one. As a rower,
Uh-huh.
would you rather do an Olympic distance triathlon So this is a 1.5 kilometre swim, 40 kilometre bike, and
Yeah.
a 10k run, or a full marathon.
I feel like the triathlon could be quite fun. I mean, I'm not opposed to either. Like, I would like to do a marathon one day, but I feel like I should probably try, if I was going to do a triathlon, it's probably suited to me now more than it will be in like once I've retired from rowing. So I want to like properly train to do a marathon once I've retired from rowing. But I feel like if I had to right now, I could make up some slack with some cycling.
So the answer is today it's a triathlon.
Today it's a
10
triathlon.
years' time it's a marathon.
Yeah.
And I think the best cyclists often did rowing in their history.
Because it's quite a leg-dominated sport. Like, I'm not a very, very quick cyclist at all. But I feel like I could hang on in there.
Well, you'd have the power.
Yeah.
And you used to swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't drown. I wouldn't be quick either, but I wouldn't drown. So I'd be all right.
Well, when in 10 years' time you do your marathon,
Yeah.
let us know. We'll have to build you the right plan.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Would you rather fuel all of your sessions with Marmite flavoured SIS gels or Guinness flavoured energy bars?
Guinness flavoured energy bars. I'm not a Marmite fan, and I quite like Guinness. So yeah, I'll go for that. The Guinness flavoured energy bars.
What about you, Anya?
A Marmite gel. They don't taste very good anyway. Just get it down the hatch. They're salty. It's an electrolyte.
Might feel quite nice though. It might feel like you're like at the pub when you're mid-session if you have that like Guinness energy bar.
Is that what you want? I
Maybe. Yeah.
In the I don't know if,
It's
Anya, I don't know
really
if you
long.
had, but in the final stretch of the Honolulu Marathon we did, I think maybe like 39k, and you're going down the last hill.
Yeah.
And for context, I wasn't like racing. I was running it more for fun.
You're just pacing it.
I had I think half a pint or something of cold beer on the
you?
way down the hill, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Refreshing.
Yeah, but I think if I was pushing myself, the last thing I want is to be reminded of a pub.
Alcohol's a lactic buffer anyways. So just, it's like that mental edge as well. It
So
tastes
is that what it took to get gold? A
Yeah,
few shots
we
of whiskey
were out
before
at
you
the pub the
started?
night before
Yeah.
our race, just
My,
casually just taking some shots.
My parkrun PB is still on New Year's Eve after probably the biggest night of my life.
See, lactate buffer.
Not coaching advice, just to be clear.
Bermuda Marathon, they had rum at the aid stations.
Did you have any?
No. They didn't offer it to the first
Also,
4 people. I don't know why.
We probably should tell all of our listeners, and you, Lola, that Anya ran the Bermuda Marathon on the weekend just been, and she won and
Doesn't
set the
look very
course
tanned.
record.
I did.
Well,
I was paced by Joe.
will you help me learn to do marathons? Learn to do them,
yes.
pace them,
Yeah,
train
whenever-
for it.
whenever
I
you're
don't
ready.
think I can
Yeah.
row though. I
You
really
be
don't
patient.
think I
You
can
have to be
row.
nice to me though. Remember, nice coaching only.
Can I go on the boat? Can I come
Yeah.
to Henley?
Yeah.
Can I go
This could be
to
an
the Henley
amazing-
Regatta?
You should come
Amazing,
to
like,
Henley.
YouTube
Honestly,
series.
really come to Henley Royal. It's so fun.
I think
Also,
you guys
yeah.
need like a little weekend together where day 1, Anya's
Yeah.
a rower,
It's so
day 2,
fun.
Lola's
Yeah.
a marathon
We'll
runner.
go for a row and then afterwards we can go for a run and you're just going to have to like hold my hand through it basically.
You do the
Just-
same on the boat.
yeah.
I'll be capsizing.
No, you won't. We'll go in a boat together and I'll make sure we don't go for a swim. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shall I
Go for it.
do the closing question that we ask all of our guests? Oh, are we doing this as a...
I think it's a row. Or,
you can choose. Okay.
You can add the question of what sport.
What race are you... So we're designing your dream race.
Uh-huh.
What is the distance and where is it? What food and drink is at the finish?
Wow.
And who's going to give you your medal?
And it can be a
So
row.
it could be rowing or
It could be
running.
any sport you like. We normally
Oh my
ask what
gosh.
their dream running race is, but I think you can tell us your
Yeah.
dream race.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to have to still be rowing because I just feel like my dream race in other sports, I wouldn't really be in a competitive place with that. So it will be rowing. And as much as the 2K hurts, I do like the 2K format because I feel like it's long enough that you've got time to sort of potentially change things, but it's also like short enough that it's not going on for ages. I didn't get to race in Bled, which is beautiful. Like everyone that goes there, like rowing wise, they say it's like the most stunning.
Where is this?
Slovenia. And it's like one of the most stunning lakes apparently to race on. It's just like crystal, like clear blue water, big lake with like this little island in the middle of it. And everyone said it was beautiful. And who's going to give me our medal? We love Taylor Swift, and I'm doing anything to get like just get her name out there, just in case one day she just wants to give us like a t-shirt or something. So Taylor Swift. Yeah.
And what food and drink we have at the end?
Pizza, like a nice like Italian pizza, and maybe like a spicy margarita.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
Delicious. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say some like, oh,
You thought I was going to say like recovery shake or something
no,
like
I meant
that.
more
yeah.
like where you're. I thought it was going to be like a Scandinavian fjord or something like that.
I mean, so like the colder the water, like the heavier as well, which means like the racing will go on for longer.
Really?
So yeah, because like the colder the water, the closer it gets to freezing, the denser it is.
Because that's the same with cycling. When the
Yeah.
air's colder, there's more air pressure versus if
Yeah.
it's hotter, you get a bit faster as well.
Yeah, so it's like rowing through
Treacle.
like fudge, basically. Like you put your blades in and it's like,
So,
oh god, it's
so
heavy.
your race in Slovenia,
Yeah.
is it in the summer, the spring, the winter?
Summer. Make it hot. Give me summer. Yeah.
And is it middle of the day? Is it first thing in the morning?
I'd say like 11ish, because when it's middle of the day, it's baking and you don't want to be like too hot.
And then the sun can come out for your margarita.
The sun can come out from my
And
margarita.
your
It's
pizza.
it's midday. It's
and
pizza.
Taylor's,
It's all of that.
Taylor's concert as well.
And if Taylor's giving us our medal, then she's probably going to do a concert.
Yeah.
So this is just turning into like a little festival on the lake now,
This
guys.
sounds
you
great.
sure you
This is
don't want to
great.
like make the row maybe like 100 meters, not and then
While rowing, like, please actually just get Taylor Swift.
we could just take out the rowing bit, and then you've just got a festival in Slovenia.
I'll row Taylor over to the stage, which
Nice.
is floating on the
Fantastic.
lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll just get my pizza and my mugs.
Nice.
Delicious.
Well, it is absolutely fascinating to learn what it takes to be the best in the world. And very much huge good luck on everything that comes next. And when you want to do your marathon, you're going to have to let us know, and we'll be there to help as well.
You have to help me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me.
Today's podcast is powered by Runna. Runna is the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide. And whatever your running goal, whether you're looking to do your first 5K, improve your time over the 10K, or even run a marathon or an ultra marathon, we'll build you the personalized training for you to help you get there and enjoy the process along the way. If you want to download the Runna app, you'll get 2 weeks for free with code podcast25. And if you're already a Runna customer, you can head to the premium offers section where we've got a 15% off discount for you off any of our Runna merchandise.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, subscribe. And if you loved it, give us a 5-star rating. And we'll be back next week with another inspiring guest. See you then.